from WBNE.
Howdy, yokes. Before we get started today, we want to let you know that this episode of Bacon and Eggs is brought to you by none other than the Sincerely Us podcast. It's Pride Month right now, and we want to dedicate our show to shows hosted by amazing individuals in the LGBTQ community. And we're actually joined this week by one of the hosts of Sincerely Us. Her name's Inés Fuenmayor. She is amazing. She's beautiful. She's wonderful. She's everything you've ever wanted in a Broadway musical theater podcast host. And she's here with us this week. I want to note that last week when I did this, if you're listening to this like 3 years in the future, and you're like, literally last week, he said that we're going to have guests this month. One, I totally forgot In the Heights came out, and we talked with Sincerely Us a long time ago about having them on the show. Two, there was literally no adjustment to my schedule whatsoever, and I didn't have to reach out to anyone to make this happen, which is why we have a guest on the show this week.
Yeah, Annie texted us and said, when are we recording about about In the Heights? And Tyler said, I don't know, 8:30 on Tuesday? And Annie said, yep.
And there actually was a delay to our recording, but it was my fault, and Annie was thankfully very accommodating. So anyway, next week we'll have a guest also, but again, the timing worked out, and they reached out to me, so I lied last week, okay? But I didn't mean to. It was an accidental lie. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Howdy, yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Etchill.
And today we're taking the A train.
Or maybe it's just too damn hot.
So buy your dad's bar in the Dominican Republic.
And win the lottery.
Because today we're bringing you
In the Heights.
In the Heights was directed by John Chu, came out June 11th, 2021, which was 5 days ago on HBO Max, and as well as in theaters. It was on a $55 million budget. So far, $11.5 million worldwide, which is extremely low, but I think won the box office and is like one of the highest box offices in COVID. So good job.
Yeah, I also think it's only out in the States.
That could be true also.
Well, the domestic total is 11.5 million, and the worldwide total is 11.5 million. So
probably only out here. 96% critic rating, 95% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 84 on Metacritic. But more important than all of that, we're joined this week by none other than Inés Fuenmayor of Sincerely Us. Ini, welcome back to Bacon and Eggs.
Hi. I'm so glad to be. I'm so excited to be here, specifically talking about this movie.
I'm so excited you're here talking about this movie because I feel like I only have so much to bring to the table with this one. So I'm super happy you're here to provide a more nuanced view on In the Heights. What does In the Heights mean to you before we even get to critic reviews or anything like that? I just want like a blurb from Eni.
Well, In the Heights, the show, is my favorite Broadway musical ever, and also probably my favorite piece of fiction ever. So it's really important to me, and I was very nervous about this movie. Very excited because Lynn worked on it a lot, but also very nervous when this movie was announced and everything. But I'm definitely excited that it came out, and definitely excited with the way that it turned out.
It's very good. It was a very good movie.
I loved it. I've seen it 3 times already.
3 times? Good Lord.
I've loved it as well, and I have a review here from somebody who didn't love it that much. This is a negative review from John Anderson of America Magazine, who says, "Why are the visuals so relentlessly static and boring? Why doesn't the movie soar away from the stage, doing what film versions of stage shows are supposed to do, broaden rather than strangle the virtues of the material?" Tyler, do you have a review from somebody who liked this beautiful movie?
I do. I actually have a review from Angie Hahn from Film Week, and she says, "From top to bottom, I had such a good time with this," which much more describes how I feel about this movie than John Anderson. And in fact, John Anderson's review here, as I was watching it, having no familiarity with the Broadway show, I was like, how on earth would they put this on a stage? There's so many sets. There's so many different places. It's so big. How could they possibly distill this down to like one group of people at one stage?
Well, it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the set pieces were well, in the movie. It's broadened, right? So most of like the stage the stage version of it takes place on the same block.
Right.
So the pool scene, that doesn't happen at a pool. That happens still in front of Rosario's and the bodega and the salon, like the same kind of like area. So this movie was definitely it made it bigger than the stage version, just in that aspect. So I don't understand John Anderson's review at all.
I mean, it's way different than the stage show too, because like every night on the stage show they had to get a new Benny because Benny falls off a building when he tries to walk up it sideways, and it just doesn't work if it's not a movie, right? Like on stage you can't do that. That's movie magic.
That's exactly right.
So they had to get a new Benny every night. Christopher Jackson only did it once
Chris
before
Jackson.
he died. No, that's not true at all. Yeah, it's a stage show, right? They just did do it like a stage show. The movie gave it an opportunity to breathe the way that, John Anderson's talking out his ass right now. This is total BS.
I don't understand.
Tyler Carlin on a scale of 0 to 100.
I'm going to get in trouble for this one. I'm going to give this one an 80.
80 flat?
80 flat.
Okay. This is a 100%er.
Yeah, it's 100 from me
100%er. I loved this movie. This movie brought me to tears the way a movie hasn't in a long time, like sad tears and happy tears. And it's going to be one of those things where like maybe I won't think that the next time I watch it, but this is the first movie I've seen in theaters in 16 or 17 months. And that was an unbeatable experience to watch this huge thing in theaters. Just like blew me away completely. This is a 100%er. I'm trying to use my 100% more after last week's episode. Here we go. This is a 100%er. Eni?
Yeah, it's 100% for
there you
me.
go.
Like, it's 100%.
It's a 96,000 out of 100.
96,000 out of 100. I haven't seen it in theaters yet. I do have plans to see it this weekend in theaters. I've seen it on HBO Max 3 times already. As I said, I can't. And while it holds a different place in my heart than the stage show, I absolutely love this movie.
So, let me be clear about my 80% here. I don't dislike this at all. 80% is a glowing score. I did not cry. I don't know when I would have cried.
That's so wild.
Yeah, it took me 5 sittings to finish this movie one time, which is partially just like a certain level.
You cry at Subaru commercials, but you don't cry when Abuela Claudia dies.
No. Also, I'm sorry about the incessant dog noise right now. There are 5 dogs in this house. And Emily is putting a baby to sleep, so there's nothing she can do about it.
I cried at the Aretha preview that played before this. I cried when Lynn came on the screen at the beginning, was like, "Thank you for coming to see this in the theater. We put it off because we knew it had to be seen in theaters." I cried when they sang "Breathe."
Truthfully, I think if I had a theater experience where I had to sit down and watch the whole thing in one sitting, I think I would have cried. I truthfully believe that.
I want to make it clear, Yokes, if you are in a place where you feel safe going to the movie theaters, I cannot recommend enough going to a theater to see this one. My theater even did me the service of turning the air conditioning off so that it was too damn hot in the movie theater so I could really get the proper In the Heights experience. No, it's big and loud and bright and beautiful, and I cried the whole time.
I did too, but no one's surprised by that. From the second the movie started, I was in tears the entire time.
So this is one where I feel like I go back to, you remember when Captain Marvel came out and Brie Larson did that interview where she was like, yeah, no duh, white men don't like it. It's not for them. It's not about them. It's not their movie. That's exactly how I feel. And I feel like I don't even want to register my score because that's where I land. If I come to the table with honesty and integrity in the craft that we do, this movie didn't land for me extremely well because it's not a story about people like me. I don't relate to anything here. The whole time I was like, these are issues I can't fathom. And what I love about it is that it doesn't hold my stupid white privileged hand and be like, you need to understand it and this is why, and we're going to use this movie as a lens to teach you. Instead, it's just like, this is a movie for people who have experienced this, and if you don't get it, this isn't where you're going to get it. And I appreciated that very much as a viewer, to be like, you're right, this isn't about me. This is a fantastic film with beautiful performances, a choreography that blows my mind, singing that's incredible. Like, I don't know what the songs are supposed to sound like, but if Anthony Ramos was supposed to be played by Lin-Manuel, I'm very happy he wasn't. Like,
actually, on that note, Usnavi, like Lin's Usnavi and Anthony Ramos's Usnavi are completely different. Like, completely different.
Yeah.
Lin is definitely more nerdy and like awkward, and while Anthony Ramos had like his moments in the movie where he was like, he's incapable of not having swagger.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
like his Usnavi is completely different from Lin's.
and I noticed that in the script as well. I was like they were like, I can't even remember what the girl's name, Nina or Vanessa, whichever one he ends
Vanessa.
up with. Vanessa. And like, I'm sorry, I just don't know the story obviously as well as you do.
Yeah.
Like, I could tell when Vanessa, or like, they would talk about him and Vanessa's relationship, and they would be like, he would have to be awkward around her, and I'd be like, there's no way you look this cool and you're awkward around anybody.
Exactly.
Anthony Ramos has never been awkward around anybody in his life.
Right.
And same with Corey Hawkins, honestly. Like, both of them are supposed to be huge dorks, and they missed the mark on that completely, and that's totally fine. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that.
Benny's pants never fit in the show. Like, his pants are too short all the time, and like his shirt's not immaculately tailored by a movie prop department, right? He dresses like a Book of Mormon extra.
Yes, he
honestly.
does.
Right.
He does.
But Anthony Ramos is very cool as Usnavi. Putting him in the hat, honestly, is a crime. Like, I know the hat is significant to the plot.
They didn't do it until the end, which I thought
like,
was great. Like, they didn't really, like, he was in the hat. He wasn't in the hat the whole movie, right? Like,
no, he
went
to the club in the hat.
Oh yeah, he went to dinner in the club in the hat, and then he's in the hat while he's telling the story.
Yeah.
One other thing I could tell very much watching this was that it was written in like 2010 to 2013 ish, and then they adapted it for 2021, and I was like, there's some anachronisms here that don't, I guess, like reverse anachronisms that don't quite fit.
Yeah.
Like the way they dealt with the power outage was like, I just don't feel like this would bother you in the way that it does. Obviously, like, the heat would suck, but like, you got iPhones, you can entertain yourselves. Those have batteries.
Yeah, that's what they show you in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, they do, but I felt like showing me that was adapted for the film. So I don't know.
This was written and premiered, I believe, in 2008.
So it premiered in 2008. Lynn started writing it in college, though. Like, it's been...
Yeah.
It's old.
Before phones had flashlights.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
So that would have been a much bigger problem. And they definitely modernized the fashion for sure to some extent. Like, they tried to put Usnavi in clothes sometimes that were reminiscent of the time.
Yeah.
But like, Benny would have never worn blue pants. Never. Because it was the mid 2000s, right? And we all know what the mid 2000s looked like. It was a literal wasteland of fashion.
Man, I cannot wait until the teens are like,
God,
like, until we look back on those, like, what were we thinking? I cannot wait for that.
What were we thinking? Everybody's dressing like they're from Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah, so for me as a Latina, this movie and the show and the reason why I love this show so much is because of the fact that I relate to it so much, and the fact that the opening scene in this movie, the In the Heights sequence, you get, the walk through the bodega and you see like all of the Latino brand of the coffee, the foods, the different snacks and all that stuff that, I recognize. You guys probably might not recognize all of them, so it's just like those little things. All of the food at dinner at Abuela Claudia's, like, I could legitimately smell that kitchen. Like I knew exactly what that kitchen smelled like. And, you know, just all of the little tidbits, all of the little slang, the little like words, like just everything. For me, it was just like a huge, maybe not an inside joke, but I just felt like on the inside of it. And it's not something that I'm used to feeling when watching a movie or when watching a show. And that's why this show and this movie means so much to me.
I recognize Cafe Bustelo.
I'm right in the
fair.
middle of the two of
I
them.
know that.
Yeah.
I'm right in the middle of the two of them.
That's fair.
I am obviously white, but I did spend my 4 years in college like studying Latin America, and like I wrote a paper in my Latin American theater class on specifically on this play and a couple others about why it is bad to ignore English language theater when you consider Latin American theater. Like that it is still a good example if it's written in English, even though if it's, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like I go back with this play, especially it was one of the first musicals I really like enjoyed when I first started getting back into musicals when I was in college. To the point where when Hamilton came out, I was like, this isn't right. This isn't what I know from Lin-Manuel Miranda. I don't like this.
That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah. I was like, this is wrong, right? This is way too, you know, this isn't it. This is wrong. And from the other aspect, like obviously they're not the same, and I'm not trying to say they're the same, but I did have a parent that grew up in a New York City borough. And so a lot of these stories are similar from a different lens. Like I very much recognize a lot of the ideas, a lot of the concepts, even just down to the way they kind of live their daily life to the stories that I was told about growing up in New York City when I was a kid. So it very much like from several of those aspects pulled at my particular heartstrings. It's a good one.
So
it's a good one.
Oddly enough, my mom was born in Queens and then lived on Long Island, which is not Queens. But like my grandparents lived their whole lives in the city. And when I listen to stories from them, they're definitely very similar to this, but it feels like a bygone era. Like when I watch Casey Neistat, which is like In the Heights for rich white people.
Sure.
It's like, I don't believe, like my brain cannot fathom that like people live this way in New York City.
Yeah.
That like, I don't know. So I definitely.
Well, and that's Vanessa's whole
understand.
thing, right? She wants out. She wants to live downtown, right? She's trying to get an apartment on Great Jones Street, you know,
4th
downtown,
Street.
right? She
Yeah.
wants to live in the village, in wherever. Manhattan's huge. It just keeps going. Like
Keeps going.
and definitely like the way they describe, you know, what is the girl's name that says as it is Vanessa, right? That says the Bronx used to be a place in the sky or whatever.
No, that's Nina.
Is it Nina? Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one of them said it. Yeah. And like, that's exactly how Dad would talk about it. It's like if they were going to, you know, to North Manhattan or to over in New Jersey across the Washington Bridge, like that might as well have been across the country, right? Like you're not getting in your car and driving over there.
That's just so wild.
Right. It's like,
crazy.
we talked about 42. There's so many people that live they're born in the city, live in the city and die in the city. They never leave the city.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it's
but that's
crazy.
the thing is like, there are people who are born in the city and live in the city and die in the city and never leave and still have a greater variety of experiences to engage in than I can imagine. And I go all over the place.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
there's
you
so
get-
much more you can do in 80 years in New York than you
Yeah.
can do in a weekend in Nashville.
You get a lot of different places in New York. New York is a very crazy city that is just like 100 different cities living on top of each other from all over the world. Places where they have never spoken English ever. You know, I think this does a brilliant job of portraying, you know, this one city block basically.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have a small complaint about that because it's so much bigger, because we're off the block from time to time. To me, it's actually like I had not a great concept just from the film of the like proximity of these businesses to one another. Like I feel like if I were to see it on stage, you'd have like in a row, like taxi cab, nail salon, bodega, whatever other business there was.
Basically, yeah.
Right. But like in the film, they're like catty corner from each other, aren't they? They're like they're not on the same.
Well,
row.
they're shown to be like the four corners.
Yeah.
Yes, and that like I didn't connect that those were all so close to each other, and I think that I'm missing that because I feel like the Washington Heights, this block, is its own character, and I don't know that entirely comes through in the film adaptation.
Sure. I mean,
Coming from the perspective of somebody who has no experience with this play.
And that's the problem with all movie musicals ever, is like there is some degree of it really helps if you know the story.
Absolutely. I talked about it actually on our episode of Sincerely Us. Like, there are definitely specific relationships within the show or within the movie that I feel like you don't get enough of. And if you don't know the show, then like, why do you care about, Usnavi's friendship with Nina? Or why do you care about Vanessa's friendship with Nina? Like, I don't think that they were able to give enough attention to like all of the different relationships. So like, I get what you're saying, and I can understand that entirely. I also feel like, as much as, yes, Abuela Claudia's death wrecked me, I can understand someone maybe not connecting as much, just because I don't feel like she got enough time to... You don't feel like her importance to the entire block until after she dies, in my opinion. In the movie.
That is true. And there's actually... I've seen complaints about this online circulating since it came out 5 days ago. That like they took one of her songs out, that she had like a song in the beginning that really establishes who she is in the community.
Well, they moved it. So the song Paciencia y Fe, the song that she sings like right as she's dying, is actually much earlier in the show. And that kind of, they use that to establish like who she is.
Yeah, it's her I Want song, basically, that they chose to be her I'm Gonna Die Now song.
Yeah.
Because they were able to rework it a little bit, right? Because you can't have Abuela Claudia die during the blackout if the blackout's the closer of Act 1, right? That doesn't work.
Exactly.
That's not how Broadway works. People are going to just leave.
Exactly. That's actually that particular thing. So there's a song that Nina sings right after Abuela Claudia dies in the show called Everything I Know, where she reiterates that Abuela Claudia was there. She's going through like all her stuff, and she sees pictures of like the salon in the 80s. She sees pictures of Usnavi as a kid. She sees like the program from her high school graduation, all in Abuela Claudia's apartment. So it's like that is the one song that they cut that for me kind of took away from the show, because I think that instead of maybe seeing Vanessa go and get rejected for her, apartment, we could have had that moment instead. Like, I don't think we needed to see Vanessa go up to the apartment.
Go ahead.
I'm
going to say it. We don't need the kids.
We don't need the kids, honestly.
They're not there.
The
in the show.
Yeah, we didn't need the kids.
It's cute, right? What? It's great. It's a great framing. The framing story of Usnavi sitting at the bar in the DR with his children, telling a story to his children, doesn't exist in the show.
Oh, see, I would have thought that would be such a beautiful thing in the show to have like that was actually one thing that I was really easily picturing. Like, oh my gosh, you could do so much with lights right here to turn the bar into the beach, into the bar. Yeah, I thought that was there.
Well, and I don't think you can't do it in the show, right? Like, there's no reason why you can't do it in the show. I just don't think Lynn thought of it then.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I like the addition. I do. Like, it's super cute, and they're great interactions. The kids are great, and like the ending is cool because of it. But like there's so many things that got left out to drop out of the music to tell these stories to the children that like it goes back and forth, right? And this is, again, every movie musical. They're gonna make changes. They're gonna make cuts,
of course, because
Broadway plays are longer, and they could basically be as long as they want, and nobody's gonna say anything, right? Cursed Child takes 2 days, and nobody gets mad.
And I mean, it is Lynn, so In the Heights has how many songs on the cast album?
A lot, and a lot of the reprises are missing anyway. So
yeah.
Well, go ahead, E.
But yeah, so they as much as they took away, I do think they gave back, because like Nina and Vanessa get to be such better characters to me.
Oh, I agree. I agree completely.
And I don't just want to sit here and talk about the differences, right? Because we're just talking about the movie, and it doesn't matter. But like, Vanessa's not really a character in the show. Like, her whole sort of ambition is just to move away, and it does give a different feel to it when Usnavi still like knows that all she wants to do is move away. Like, it's not really a different ambition. She just needs to get out of the barrio, and he still has her like has Daniela Costa on the lean and everything on the lease, and like that still happens, and it's a whole different conversation, right? They gave us some of the same points and landed in the same places through different character pieces, but I do think that the additions they made to Nina and Vanessa's characters were fantastic.
I agree.
I like the four sort of core leads. I think it would take a rewatch for me to really sort of grasp onto it, because as I was watching it the first time, I didn't know who it was about. I didn't even know if Usnavi was the main character until like way into the second act. But you've got these four characters where like Usnavi's trying to leave the country and start his business, and then stepping down from that, you've got, I'm gonna guess, Nina going to Stanford in California, which is like still the U.S., but it's leaving Washington Heights. And then you've got Vanessa, who just wants to leave Washington Heights. She wants to go down to 4th Street in like Times Square in proper Manhattan. And then you've got, I don't know the guy's name, but he wants to like stay there. Like Benny's whole like goal is like, let's make Washington Heights livable. Let's not, get rid of the taxi service that holds this town together. He's devastated that he would ever have to leave for any reason, or that it would be changing into something he couldn't work with.
Yeah.
And he has that moment of realization that like it used to be an Irish neighborhood, so we've had our time and now we have to move out, and I can't handle that. And I think that sort of stair step down is interesting in how they all come to make peace with Washington Heights, and how they can continue to improve it as their characters.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that like specifically, because the whole thing starts off with Sueñito, right? The whole thing is about everyone's dream. So the way that I kind of like put it together is you have Usnavi, who thinks that he has this dream about going to the DR and resurrecting his father's bar or restaurant or whatever it was, right? So really he's kind of not living, but like his goal is like his dad's dream, not really his dream, but it's more of what his dad's dream was, right?
Right.
Literally, the bar was called Sueñito. You have
I don't know what
Nina.
that
Means little dream.
Little dream.
It's like the first thing he says in the movie.
It's a long movie, guys.
When the kid's like, Dad, what does Sueñito mean? And he's like, Sueñito means little dream. And they're like, that's it? No story?
It's exactly how the movie starts.
And he's like, all right, I'll tell you the story.
I don't think I put together that like Sueñito means little dream meant like Sueñito translates as little dream.
Yeah.
I thought it meant like, what does it mean to you? And
it means
No.
means little
it
dream.
translates to little
Sueño
dream.
is dream. And,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Dorito.
Yes.
What is Dorito?
Dorito, like the chip?
I know, but like, what does that translate to?
To Little Doro. Have you not heard of the existence of the Doro?
No.
The giant triangle chip of the god? No, I have no idea.
No, absolutely not. So what was he saying? So you have Usnavi, who's like trying to realize his father's dream, right? You have Nina, who thinks that like is off at Stanford, realizes that she hates it, and is trying to tell her dad that that's no longer her dream until she finds like her reasoning of wanting to go back to school, right? Then you have Vanessa, who has like the dream of wanting to have her own fashion line or being her own designer and getting out of Washington Heights.
Yeah.
You have Abuela Claudia, who basically lived her entire life because of her mom's dream of getting out of Cuba, and realizing towards the end of her life that she got her dream, she got her family, she had her people right before she dies. And yeah, Benny is just and Sonny is another character that I think that they elevated so much in this movie. He's not like he's a main-ish character in the play, but they gave him a lot more purpose and a lot like a better character.
He wants similar things in the play too, because he has his lines in 96,000 about fixing housing, about doing
and
all that stuff. So it's
and all that stuff,
it's very much the same sort of character, but they let him breathe a lot more.
Yeah,
Sonny was one of my favorite characters.
They made him like very Gen Z, right? Like that's basically what they did to him, which I thought was great. And then so you have like then his dreams of everything that he wants to do to better the neighborhood, everything that he wants to do for himself, and realizing that he can't really do that because of the fact that he's undocumented, right? So everyone's kind of like on their own paths with their own sueñitos. And it kind of like comes together at the end, and everyone realizes that everything that they've complained about in the neighborhood is really what they love about it. It's the community. It's everyone that they know, everyone that was put into their lives because of where they live, right? And I don't know. I just think it's like I think it's just so beautiful. Like that idea is super. It gets to me. Found family.
Do you have a sueñito? Oh my gosh, sueñito.
You're fine. I wouldn't call it a sueñito. I have a sueño. I mean, yeah, I have my goals and my dreams in life and stuff. I mean, who doesn't? But
Me,
this, like,
I lack ambition entirely. I just
to quote the homeless guy in Pretty Woman, everybody got a dream. What's your dream?
Wow.
Love that movie.
And for me, just I as both of you know, like I live in Miami. I've lived my entire life in Miami. Miami is very, very a very gigantic Latino community, right? And not just Latino, like there's just a whole melting pot of people here. And this to me, the everyone coming over and having dinner, all of the neighbors coming over, just everyone being in everyone's business, the salon girls, like it's very, very true to what I've known in my life. And it's another reason why I love this so much. It's because it just, I mean, Lynn grew up in Washington Heights, so he knows more than most what the community is like. So to me, it translated so well into a movie. And I love that it's in this form where so many more people can watch it and so many more people can appreciate it.
So I love that it exists also. I am curious. So you're saying that like when they all come over for dinner and they're like listening to the record player and all singing along and they have these like big cultural beats, that's like totally dead accurate to real life experiences that you've had in your family and your communities. I want to paint a picture for you for like the white people version of this, because when I was watching it, I was like, we don't do that. Like we get together, we all get in the same room, and there's camaraderie and stuff, but it's not like this, which is fine. I'm not saying that the Latino way of doing this is incorrect. That would be absurd. But like, and then I was like, I wonder if there's movies that really describe what it's like for white people to get together. And there are. Like every movie does this. Have you seen like Meet the Parents or The Proposal or minus the slaughtering people thing, Get Out? Like
we don't generally do that. Most of us try to avoid that at all costs.
At all costs. But that's just sort of what makes Get Out so interesting. Is like Bradley Whitford saying, I would have voted for Obama a third time. Like that is exactly the kind of shit that you would hear if like my cousin is dating a black guy. It's like the first black guy that anybody in my family's ever dated. We love him. John's amazing. But like that's exactly the type of shit that my grandfather would say to him. And it's like
listen, I grew up where we would have a cajachina, like roasted entire pig, every other weekend. And every time we would have a get together, I would have some cousin that I've never met before in my life who wasn't actually my cousin. And it was just always at my house. And it was everyone would bring food and it was a whole dinner and it was a whole thing. And we would play dominoes. And it's like that was my life growing up. And that's exactly how all of the get-togethers are. Like, exactly with the music and the record player and the old for me, old Cuban music that I've never heard of before in my life. With all of the older generation, like, oh, I remember, sitting in the clubs in Cuba listening to this, and I saw him live and blah, blah, blah. Like, just like that.
Let me get this straight. You know the rules to dominoes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
6 and 9.
Yeah, that's
the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Tyler, you ever been to Miami?
No.
It's a different country, dude.
It is.
It straight up
It
is
really
like
is.
You're not in America anymore.
I'm aware. I call it North Cuba.
Yeah,
which is what most of like my family calls it, is North Cuba.
You know what's interesting is watching this movie. We've been friends for a long time, Edie. I don't know if you know this. There have been multiple times. Yeah, there have been multiple times where you were like, I want to leave Miami. And in my mind, I had the same feeling watching this movie. Like, my gut reaction is like, okay, so leave. Like, why on earth can you not? And watching this movie explains a lot of like, you can't just leave. Like, that's not how it works. But coming from the suburbs, I can just go wherever I want, whenever. If I was like, you know what, I want to live in Montana now, I just moved to Montana.
I think that's fair.
Like,
that's fair. And I don't necessarily think that I don't have that ability. And we've definitely had that conversation more than like 10 times where I've been like, I want to get out of Miami, and you're like, just go. And I'm like, yeah, it's a lot easier said than done.
Becca did it. Becca just hopped on a plane and moved.
And I watched this movie and I'm like, why would you want to leave Miami? Like, I'm so jealous of the people that get to live their lives like this, because like white people have such a, I think, narrow definition, a narrow and like almost to a fault definition of family, right? It's like, for most white people, it's like, if you're not related to me, like I will. It doesn't matter if my uncle's a shitbag that hates me. I will treat him better than you because he's my family. And like, that's been my experience with a lot of people. I've never really felt that way because a lot of my family has never been particularly nice to me. But I've met a lot of pushback from that on the other end by my white friends that are like, it's all about capital F family, blood family all the time.
Yeah, it's true. Even Eni, when you were like, oh, my cousin who I'm not related to, like, my gut reaction was like, that's not your cousin. Like you don't get to use that word if it's not
It's
blood.
my primo
Like, Tyler
hermano.
sees-
Like,
Tyler
yeah,
sees
it
me-
is.
And I
I
understand
caught
this.
myself that way. I was
Tyler
like, wait a
sees
minute.
me differently than I see him, and he always will, and that's just part of our relationship at this point, right? Like, Tyler's family to me in a way that I am not to him.
Ouch.
What? Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know. I have a very big family who I have very like good relationships with. So I mean, you and I think have different definitions of family. I don't think that that's incorrect, but I do love you like a brother.
I love you too, but sometimes I feel like I'd move the world and you wouldn't move down the street. And that's fine. You have these people in your life that you carry these definitions. Like, I've just never felt like that. I much more wish that I was part of one of these communities, right? Because like, and I don't have any fucking family anymore. Like, they're gone. For better or for worse, they gone. I can't undo that one, right? So now when I look at and this is just something that's tough for me. It's something I just sort of realized a couple weeks ago. It's honestly what's been getting me down recently. So it's kind of hard for me to watch this movie. It's like, if I want to have family at Christmas time, I have to, like, until I have my own kids or whatever, I have to rely on somebody else to provide me with a family, right? Like, that is tough, and that's not something Usnavi de la Vega is ever going to go through, right? Like, ever. Because they may not be his family, but he was born into them just the way they all were, right? Like, I look at this movie and I'm like, I want this. Never more have I wished I was less white than watching this movie.
Yeah, it was something that I never really knew was, I guess, not the norm until I like became friends with you guys, because you guys are like my first white friends. So
Get out of town. That is not real.
I
feel like we do a pretty good job representing white people, honestly.
Yeah, we've got like two ends of the spectrum. We've got like big white family, no white family.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was something that I never realized was like not the norm, because community, even down here in Miami, where we're obviously not on top of each other the way that they are in Washington Heights, but even down here, like, community is huge down here. And like when my mom, like I've always lived like in the like suburbs of Miami, but my mom grew up in Little Havana in Miami. So that's a lot more of a congested area, and it was a lot more of a, yeah, my neighbor is my best friend, and I've known her since I was 2, and she's my sister. And that neighbor is like my godmother, you know, like, so I have the cousins that aren't cousins, and my mom's best friend's kids that are my cousins, and it's always is the way that it is, and that's my family. Like, it's gigantic, and maybe we're not all related by blood, but we are family. And that's just how I was raised, and how everyone was kind of taught in my in my life.
I just, it keeps getting, every time you say cousin, I'm like, that's not your cousin. And like, cousin. Obviously this is a cultural divide, and I'm like, neither one of us is right or wrong. But like, I think it's so interesting, the inherent prejudice that like makes me clench against that. Yeah.
And it's very common, like, for especially me, like in the Latin community, everyone is like tia or tío. So like everybody is tia, which is aunt and uncle. Right. Like that is very normal. Like, I call almost every like older woman in my life that's not actually related to me either tia or, you know, or the man tío. It just is how it is. And
hold on, I just realized something.
Yeah.
I know we're your first white friends. I truly think you are my first friend that is like natively fluent in Spanish.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I'm trying to think through people I've known my whole life. Like, Ethan was fluent in Spanish in college, but definitely wasn't native.
No. But I do, because of that, know people.
Yeah, no. My first, like, I learned Spanish before I learned English.
Well, okay, so sorry, that's not true. My actual real life brother-in-law is fluent in Spanish and was born in Bolivia. So I do know people who are fluent in Spanish. And he is my family. So there's that. I knew there was somebody obvious I was missing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And it's funny because, like, I live obviously in this bubble of Miami. So until I started like talking to people outside of Florida, outside of Miami, I was like, yeah, I'm white. Not white. You guys are white.
I want to drag this back for 2 seconds.
Hold on. I have one last question before.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ethan.
No, I just wanted to say I think it's really funny that you're saying that Enie's people that are her cousins are her cousins, but your wife's sister's husband is your family.
Yeah.
Wild the way you think about this.
So, like, I don't think, there's a non-bloodline right there. But, like, his kids are definitely my nieces, and he's definitely their father. So that makes us related. Nieces and nephew.
Anyway. Go ahead with your last question.
Eni, you came to Roanoke. You went to like a white people tchotchke restaurant. I need thoughts. Did you see people of color there? Probably not.
No, not really. Yeah. And then the second time I came with Linton, which was fun. Yeah, no.
And we went to a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, we did. Which was great. I mean, it wasn't like, I don't know. I like Roanoke enough. It wasn't like, I didn't inherently feel out of place anywhere. Okay. If that makes sense.
I wouldn't say that we're a bustling cultural hub either.
Oh, no.
We are not.
Absolutely not.
Not even of white people culture. Like,
no. Yeah.
I do kind of think it's funny though, like how much of the movie is almost like distilled to sort of at some point still make sense to a white audience, because they spend a lot of time like explaining that Abuela isn't related to all of them, as if any Latin American person's going to bat an eye at somebody being called Abuela.
I did not realize they explained that at all. I was like, oh, matriarch. This is the
That
whole
was
family
abuela.
is
She's not
related.
really my abuela, but she
Yeah.
practically raised me. This corner is her escuela.
And then they keep
Okay, it's
saying
a
it over
rap.
and over again, where they're like,
it's Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Okay,
Of course
but that
it's a
doesn't.
rap.
What I'm saying is, like, I've listened to this album one time. I missed a lot of lyrics. Okay, I had the subtitles on. I was trying to follow along as best as I could, but a lot of it's not even in a language I speak. And because it's not for white people, it doesn't have like obvious English translations all the time. Sometimes it does, but then a lot of times it's like you're supposed to know that "fe" means faith. Like, okay. I'm not
Yeah.
mad. I think that this is how it should be, but
yeah,
I'm not mad.
There's some
I'm just
places where
telling
it
you
pulls
this is-
punches, and there's some place where it absolutely doesn't. Where I was
mean,
was
that's
watching
fair.
and I was like, if I didn't know what these words meant, I would be a little bit lost.
Yeah, I
that's
was a
fair.
little bit lost.
That's fair. I'm trying to think of what other parts are in Spanish. I mean, there's an entire like parts in Breathe that are in Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
I don't know the song names.
they just they throw like slang in there constantly, just like
Yeah.
in the middle of sentences, and I could definitely see it tripping people up.
That's fair.
Even if you're like, I don't know what no me diga means.
I don't know what "no me digo" means.
No me digas like, oh, is the literal translation is, oh, don't tell me, basically, but the meaning is like, oh, no way, like, are
Shut
you
the
serious?
front
Like,
door.
there.
That's news to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
and
There's-
just a
there's a
general
lot of-
an exclamation of like, no way.
Yeah.
there's a lot of situations where I was watching this and I was like, I do not know Spanish as well as I thought I did, because these all seem like really common phrases, and I think with context clues I get them, but now I don't. I'm a little bit lost, and
No, you still get the story.
Absolutely.
you do still get the story. It took me a while, but I got there.
It's worth a second watch.
Absolutely.
I wholeheartedly agree, but I finished it at 8:45 and we record at
Oh, sure.
8:30.
Yeah.
So-
No, I get it. I understand what you're saying. If you were like, okay, done with that one forever, I would give it a second watch. You will definitely pick up that the businesses are all directly across from each other, because you can at some point see the other one on every side out the door of the first one.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I by the end of it, I had
Yeah.
actually grasped that. But like, as I was watching it, I was like, "Are these all in the same spot? How many blocks are we taking up? What are we calling a block here?"
Well, and the realistic story is that on this opposing street corner on the other side of whatever building Rosario's is built into is probably another bodega run by another Usnavi.
Oh, probably.
And they probably don't like each other. Like, you see that between the
Most
Piragua guy
likely.
and Mr. Softy is like, somewhere
Oh my
out there
God.
Usnavi has a mortal enemy that also sells lotto tickets.
Lynn as the Piragua guy.
Really
perfect.
getting his work in the Carnaval de la Vega or
Yes.
the Barrio scene.
Yes. Which, like, to me, as a fan of the show, like, thinking about Lynn, like, looking down from the fire escape to the scene of everyone dancing and everyone, like, shooting, like acting that scene.
And they got
Like,
him real loud in the mix that you're like,
Of
this
course.
is Lynn singing.
Of course. Oh my God, it was so good.
Did you watch the post-credit scene, Tyler?
I did not know.
okay.
Because I told you all I was going to be 15 minutes late, and then I was more than 15 minutes late. So I as soon as the credits started, I was like, gotta go. So
Yeah, it's the Piragua reprise with Mr. Softy.
yeah,
so
I needed some resolution there. I understand that I was watching it and I was like, oh, he wrote the musical. He gets his own song smack in the middle here for no reason. That doesn't advance the plot at all.
So that was
And I'm
actually,
with it, like I'm game, but like, what is this doing here?
So in the show, he's definitely like kind of this is what's happening while we're changing outfit, like while we're changing
Yeah.
costumes and while we're changing the set.
He's
like,
King
that was
George.
yeah. So that was the purpose of the Piragua guy. In the stage version of Breathe, like he's the one singing as Nina is like walking onto the street or whatever. Like he's the one singing the Spanish verse. Speaking of King
Which
George,
song was Breathe? What is that?
That's
part
the
is
one
that?
where Nina, where Nina's talking about how she's flunked out of school and how she's gonna disappoint everyone who thinks highly of her. And the scene where you see Lynn's parents.
Lynn's parents are in the show.
There are
Yeah,
so many cameos. There are so many cameos in this. So obviously you have Lynn and Chris Jackson as the Piragua guy and Mr. Softy. Lynn's parents in the song Breathe, in that scene, are the ones that are like coming out of the car and they tell Nina welcome home. Like those are Lynn's parents. They're the original Graffiti Pete is like the guy in the bar at the club, the bartender. Who else? There's a bunch of cameos in the finale. Javier Munoz and
Mark Anthony's in it somewhere.
oh well, yeah, duh. Mark Anthony as the
Why is that a yeah, duh?
well, it's Mark Anthony.
Yeah,
Mark Anthony who plays the absent
Is that-
it's-
Is Mark Anthony somebody?
Yes.
yes.
Not
He's a
part
pop
of
star.
Caesar's triumvirate?
No,
No,
he's
no,
he's
he is-
like an American pop star.
Yes.
I know he was in a song with Pitbull. That's the extent I know of Mark Anthony. There was a helicopter in the music video.
Mark Anthony is a very big star in the Latin community. I mean, he does sing a lot in Spanish, but he has a lot of pop songs in English, and has like kind of made that crossover. He was married to J-Lo for a while.
See,
They
I
have
guess,
kids.
like I'm not denying that Mark Anthony's a pop star that I've even heard of, but the fact that like, oh, obviously Mark Anthony would be in this is like, okay, sure. Ryan Reynolds is in this.
Who
right?
did he play?
He played Sonny's dad.
Oh, I haven't seen a picture of him in years, so
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
no,
recognize him.
they tatted him, like fake tatted him all up, and he looks as skinny as he usually does, and he played like the drunk absent father.
But he sings in the original song that plays over the credits, so they'll get an Oscar for this.
yes,
That's the important
obviously.
part here.
Yeah, that's the important part.
Is they got both Latin and American pop star Mark Anthony to sing in an original song, so that they can be nominated for best Oscar
Yes.
for best song.
Yes, so that Lynn can finally EGOT.
Would Lynn get it? I feel like that would go to Mark Anthony and John Chu.
If he wrote the
I'm-
song, he would get it.
I'm pretty sure he
Yeah.
has a writing credit for this song.
Also, if this wins Best Picture, he gets a credit. He gets an EGOT.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
that I think it will, but
No, I'm trying to think what other cameos. There's a bunch of like little. Patrick Page as the dry cleaning guy.
I don't know who Patrick Page is.
He plays Hades in Hades Town, and was also Claude Frollo in the stage version of Hunchback. He has a very, very awesome voice.
And he's
so
the
very-
shitty dry cleaner?
Yeah, and actually in that
Screw
scene,
that guy.
in that scene, there's like a doo-wop song that's playing in the background, and Mandy Gonzalez, who was the original Nina, is the one singing that
Oh,
song.
it's fun.
And then the hold music when
That got me good.
that I laughed.
That got me
wholeheartedly.
good.
When Nina's dad is on hold with Stanford, it's "You'll Be Back" from Hamilton.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That
good.
got me,
It was great.
That got me good.
It was good. Yeah, there was a bunch of, and I mean, like, there's a lot of other things. Like, a lot of the dancers, they brought in a bunch of like world champion like salsa and bachata dancers that are in like the ensemble dancing. The dancing in this is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. And it's like influential of like so many different cultures. Like there's a lot of like I said, bachata, salsa, merengue. Specifically in Carnaval del Barrio, like they start off with a flamenco, which I thought was amazing. And then when they kind of go into each country, like it's a very specific dance to like that country. Like it was just, everything was so good. I mean, I don't really expect less from Lynn, so.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like it's cost more than $55 million. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It
Like,
does.
they did a lot with that budget.
I agree.
John, you Don't forget John Chu's involved.
Oh, absolutely.
I have not seen Crazy
Right.
Rich Asians, so
Oh my god.
Ethan.
It's so
You have to
good.
see it.
y'all
It's
keep
so
saying
good.
that like, when was I supposed to have done that between the last time you went Ethan at me about
At
it?
some point.
Guys,
between
it's
the
48
last
hours.
time.
Yeah. You-
No, it
48
hasn't.
you could watch Crazy Rich Asians like 20 times in 48
Okay, but I have
hours.
other things going on. That scene, the one that gets me, honestly, the first time you even see the dancers, when they're looking at Usnavi through the window of the bodega, and they're dancing in the
God,
reflection,
gorgeous.
and he's doing his Yama street light.
Gorgeous.
I was like, holy hell, that's a cool scene.
I think that's when I started crying. I'm pretty sure that's when I started crying.
That was
yeah.
that was on
So
my
good.
first night watching this, and I leaned over to Emily and I said, "That's a cool shot. That's one of those shots where they make you say, I wonder how they did that. That's a cool shot.
I did
right
wonder how they did that. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I'm like, you can't mirrors and reflections always get me in movies because they're so complicated to do without you seeing the
Yeah.
camera. And like most
so
mirror
good.
shots are like two actresses or two actors, and like you see the back of one's head and the front of the actual actress. It's like a stunt double. It's crazy.
That's awesome. I have no idea how that's done. I couldn't even pretend to guess. how
Yeah,
they
no,
did
no
that.
clue.
My guess is they shot it and then removed the texture and then just plopped it.
Yeah, I mean probably.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Another one that I thought was gorgeous was Paciencia y Fe. Like that entire sequence.
Oh, with the
was
subway, the AJR music
absolutely
video.
gorgeous.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely
Crazy.
gorgeous. And Olga Merediz, which is she was the original Abuela Claudia on the stage show. Just killed it. Absolutely killed it.
Yeah, fantastic. I was thoroughly impressed with Corey Hawkins, played Benny.
Dr. Dre.
Yeah, Dr. Dre. Like I was not expecting him to be able to sing
Me
like that for
neither.
some reason, right? Like
I
to
was
have this
worried.
beautiful voice.
I was thoroughly like worried because Chris Jackson's voice is
Phenomenal.
Great.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
dude's obviously got pipes.
so I was not I wasn't sure about it, but he had a great voice as well. Honestly, like I wasn't really disappointed in
No.
anyone's
Anybody.
performance. I talked to you before we started recording. The only one that I was kind of like it fell flat for me, and again, like that's just a me thing, was Breathe, because Breathe is like my favorite song from my favorite show. So like my expectations were probably obscenely unrealistic. So I just to me it didn't I didn't get the same emotion that I do from Mandy Gonzalez's performance. But everything, like I thought everyone's performance was great.
Well, here's my comparison, and I'm gonna have to invoke the name. I had never seen Les Mis when I saw the film.
Mm-hmm.
I had never seen In the Heights when I saw the film.
Mm-hmm.
I knew finishing Les Mis that there were bad performances.
Yeah.
There were things that like, there's no way this is the longest running Broadway show, and that's the best you can do. I did not know that finishing this. I listened to this, I was like, that was phenomenal. I thought
Yeah.
this was an original cast album, and they were just lip syncing. Like, I was completely sold on the music from this.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Because they didn't do the damn thing that Les Mis did, where they like
Yeah.
filmed it live, right? They just sung the songs and lip synced, like they've been doing movie musicals since the dawn of time.
Yep.
It's a formula that works that nobody ever complained about, and Les Mis was like, no, we need live singing.
So here's the question. Russell Crowe is cast in The Heights.
No, he's not.
No, yeah, no, he's not. He gets to play the dry cleaner.
Yeah, like he plays the Patrick Page character.
You don't get him to say 96,000?
No.
I feel like, what is it
No.
with these Broadway shows and big numbers? That's what I want to know.
It's a very musical number. It's just got good syllables. That's the reason Lynn picks anything.
Yep.
Right, but like, and then in Rent, you've got the seconds in the year or whatever. And then in
525,600 minutes.
minutes, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Well, that's
And
a
then
real thing.
And
Yeah,
then-
like that's the actual number.
I understand, but then Les Mis, you've got 24601. Like I feel like there's a pattern here. Why are we putting numbers into? I get it, like, oh, it's a musical number, but like I get it, but like like, how does this keep it? 96,000. By the way, this was a moment of privilege. I was like, 96,000. That's not enough. You live in New York. That's not enough money. Whatever you think you're buying with 96,000, you can't afford it.
To be fair, most of them had pretty small dreams about that $96,000, right?
Right.
And that was Usnavi's argument, wasn't it? Like,
you're the expert. You tell me.
Like, but that was his whole thing. Was like, you'll have what is it?
He says it'll take half of that to get me out of financial ruin.
Yeah, but then you'll have a knapsack full of Jack.
Knapsack full of Jack after all that taxes. Yeah,
that's the line. But like, that's the whole thing. Is that like it's really like, what is it gonna do?
Yeah, and Benny's like, I'm gonna pay my first semester of business school. And
first semester.
Yeah. He says the entrance fee. That's it.
Yeah, that's all he said.
And then the one of the salon girls is like, I'm gonna bleach my hair.
Yeah. Oh, and they made Daniela and Carla a couple, which is not was never canon in the show, but is now canon in the movie. That was nice.
I didn't catch that.
In the opening scene, like they're legitimately in bed together.
Oh, nice. Good for them.
And then, like, they dance and kiss throughout the movie.
Yeah, and they're in bed together, and they walk into the bodega talking about two guys being in bed together as if it's the most scandalous thing.
I know that. Yeah, that fell flat for me too. I was like, really? What's her name? Stephanie Beatrice. After watching her in Brooklyn Nine-Nine and then seeing her in this is just like complete. Yes.
This is how out of touch I am going into this. Within the past 365 days, I learned what a bodega is.
Really?
Okay.
Did you learn that from TikTok?
Maybe? I feel like bodega talk was a thing for a while. That was something. Yeah, maybe.
Bodega talk is a thing?
Yeah.
How are you on that? And I am not.
You don't need to be on Bodega Talk because you're already there.
Love
okay.
That.
So whenever that sound came out that was like, I put on my jewelry just to go to the bodega.
Yeah.
And a bunch of white people were like, the f is a bodega? And
so it's
and then
hold on.
And then a bunch of
let me describe a bodega as I understand it. It's like a gas station you walk into that sucks and there's no gas.
It's a corner store.
It's a corner store.
But it like legitimately you can find anything at the bodega. Like anything.
They have these in all major cities. They're not always called bodegas because they're not always run by Latinos. But corner stores exist in all major cities. That's how 7-Eleven started.
Right. So 7-Eleven was what I was thinking of. Like, when you're on 64 and you get off on the wrong exit and you go into the gas station and you have to like get a key to pee outside and like they have like two shelves and on them are some expired Vienna sausages. That is what I'm picturing.
Except it's not like that at all, and you can buy all of the food you need.
Like anything.
Okay. Which, to be fair, most dishes that you get in Latin American cuisine can be made with a specific set of ingredients.
This is true. Rice, beans.
Yeah, you get your staples there. Whatever you need, really. It's a city thing.
Some
city
completo.
people.
And some of them have food, like made food, cooked food.
Oh, like hot food, yeah.
Hot food, yeah.
Hot food.
And also, people come in for condoms and a couple cold waters.
Yeah, it's just
coffee.
It's a corner store. Yes, definitely coffee.
So basically, a bunch of white people on TikTok went and found their local bodega and like influenced it.
That sounds terrible.
I don't think we have these in Roanoke. I think we have a co-op, which is on the corner outside of Ethan's apartment, and you can go there and spend like $9 for a bag.
The
of
closest thing we have is the store that is directly across the back of the bus station. There's like if you're driving down Salem Avenue and there's like where the train station is and the bus station's on the left, there's like a store there that's like sandwiches, beer, cigarettes, lotto tickets. And that's like the closest thing we possibly have.
I can legitimately think of like 6 of them within a mile of where I'm sitting right now. And one of them's a drive-through.
I would kill. I live down here. I would kill to have a proper store here somewhere where I can just buy something that I need at 9
oh my gosh,
p.m.
that's the worst thing when you're downtown because there's no grocery stores. You have to like go.
You have to leave
town.
downtown to go buy food.
Yeah, no. There's like I'm thinking of like. I mean, I have a proper like Publix and Winn-Dixie.
They are everywhere in New York.
Yes.
Everywhere in New York.
Everywhere.
That's so wild to me.
It's like how 95% of people who live in New York live above a Chinese restaurant.
What?
Yeah. It's a lot of them.
No, that can't be right. That's a lot.
It's a lot, man.
I do love me. You know those Chinese restaurants. You know the ones. With
Yeah.
the menu.
Yeah.
You know the one.
When the 7-year-old is doing SAT prep at the counter. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I live for those.
The
bad
menu.
boys.
The menu was like a plastic piece of paper that was burned onto the back of the glass 15 years ago when the light broke.
And they give you like a paper version of the menu, and it's got a takeout line, and like it looks exactly like all the other ones, but it's completely different.
Yep.
All their numbers are different. Oh yeah, that's where I want to go. And I'll walk in and I'll be like, I need pork fried rice, I need crab rangoons, and I need 2 egg rolls. Whatever your version of that is, for probably the highest possible amount you can charge that. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you can do the lunch special until 2. It's $4, but I'm going to charge you $18 because I'm going to do it a la carte. And I'll be like, deal.
Sounds great.
Deal.
I'm trying to think what else we haven't talked about a lot, but
I'm just very glad that Vanessa Hudgens is not in this movie.
oh, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, it's kind of like Mark Anthony, right? She should be here.
No.
I think you took that comment to heart for some reason.
Yeah, no.
Why would Vanessa Hudgens be in this? Wasn't she canceled last year?
She was, yeah, I mean, yes, but she was in it on Broadway.
Oh, she was?
No, she was in
Was it Broadway?
No, it was the Kennedy Center one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That she actually played Vanessa
With Anthony
opposite
Ramos.
Anthony Ramos, yeah.
But
Oh,
and then
cool.
because of that, she was like rumored to be Vanessa in the movie.
Yeah, I didn't want that to happen. I'm glad it didn't.
She has such a, I don't know the best way to describe her voice. Childish. Like
Yeah.
she sounds
Yeah.
very young in her singing voice
Yeah, that's fair.
in High School Musical.
She sounds interesting when she talks. She sounds like she would fit in more with the other salon girls than Nina does. I mean, than Vanessa does.
Yeah.
I thought the 2 lead girls, Vanessa and Nina, those girls can sing.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were honestly great. I thought that everyone's performance was great.
Well, and this is a Lin-Manuel Miranda musical, right? He's like, I'm not going to make the guys sing. I am going to make the girls freaking belt it, though. Because he's like,
Yep.
I got to cast me, and I know what I can do. And I cast whoever I want to do the other things.
But I have to be able to play every man part.
Yeah.
Oh, he couldn't play Benny.
No way. Yeah.
He could not play Benny.
Couldn't play.
Man, watch
Washington.
go back and watch the Tony performance sometime. It's so funny because Lynn does not look like he's aged, and Chris Jackson looks like a literal child.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. You guys were talking about Chris Jackson being in this, and I was like, no.
Yes.
He's old.
He's Benny, but he was
Yeah,
Benny in
but this was-
2008.
Yeah, in 2000. Yeah, it's from 2007, 2008.
14 years ago. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, literally, go
But,
watch the Tony
like, when I
performance.
look at Chris Jackson today, I'm like, that's Moana's dad.
No, he has like a
Okay.
single earring and looks like a child. He's real skinny.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, today that we're recording this is the anniversary of them winning the Tony.
Was it really? Look at that.
Bravo.
We got 4 Tonys?
I don't.
I
I
think
couldn't tell you. I
4.
think so. Let's look.
Yeah.
Best
He's
musical.
nominated for like 13.
Yeah, 4. Best musical, best original score, best choreography, and best orchestrations. Yay, Alex Lacamoire. And it won a Grammy.
And Andy Blankenbuehler.
Yes.
So you said this is your favorite musical of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a school that didn't have enough white or Hispanic kids to fill out.
Oh, they
the
do
4
it though.
leads.
They do it though.
In the whites.
I'm on in the whites talk.
I've seen in the,
Fully.
everyone keeps sending them
Because they're
sending
so
them
bad.
to me. It's so bad. It's so bad.
And it's not just a white thing. It is a Lin-Manuel Miranda musicals are not made for children to perform thing.
It's not. It's so many words.
It's so many words, and like kids
Hard.
usually don't have any flow whatsoever.
Nope.
That's a skill
don't.
learned over time.
Well, and
Yeah.
you remember in band class the first time your director would pull out a piece that was like the composer was new to you. Like I want to say liturgical dances, but it was Holsinger. So it wasn't that, and also Holsinger's canceled now, so I don't think I can bring that up. But like the first time, Variations on a Korean Folk Song, when that was first pulled out, it was like reading different music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is what happens when these kids get handed a Lin-Manuel piece. They're like, they don't even know, I can't sing that note in that
Right.
tempo in that song at that time. Like, that's not how music works. I've never done that before.
And you got the kid in the hat, the white kid in the hat, and he's just like
Right.
$96,000 dollars. Holler.
It's so bad.
96,000. That's a lot of spray cans.
It's so bad. And listen, I've seen so many local productions of In the Heights because In the Heights gets done down here all of the time. And every time that it's done, I go and see it. I've seen University of Miami do it. I've seen a bunch of like just local companies do it. I've even seen, and like I was shocked when we saw it. One of the productions that I saw, the girl who played Nina didn't speak Spanish. So, and it was very apparent in her singing that she did not know Spanish. And I was very taken aback by it because we live in Miami. And I just, like, I've seen smaller companies do it, and I've also, like, I saw the touring cast do it. And it's just, I don't know. It's not, I don't think high schools should do it.
Oh, Mill Mountain Theater is going to try to do it. I guarantee you.
No, I know we've had this exact conversation before, specifically about In the Heights. I think on this podcast, my question to you, Eni, is how many times have you seen Children of Eden in Miami?
Zero.
Zero.
Zero times. Plays
Zero
every single year in Roanoke. For like 2 weeks, and it sells out every night.
Wow.
Oh no, you go all the way back to the protozoa. Oh my god. It's
no,
Steven Schwartz, man.
absolutely
It's
not.
so good. It's so
it's
good.
amazing.
It's
It's very
amazing.
good.
And it only exists in like rural Appalachia community theater. Mill Mountain Theater did it one time, and Steven Schwartz fucking came for 4 straight days.
Oh my God.
That's how my mom met him, because she was working as an usher at the theater, and he would always come in late. And she was like, "You're Steven Schwartz," and he's like, "I am indeed." This is the guy that made fucking Wicked.
Wow. Oh my God. Speaking of which, John Chu is directing Wicked.
Yes,
The movie.
Yes,
So
I
I
have
am
much
now-
more faith
yeah.
in the Wicked movie now.
I am now slightly more excited about the Wicked movie coming out than I was.
I just want Anna Kendrick nowhere near it.
I
Oh,
Maybe.
no.
Maybe
Anna
if she
Kendrick and
plays
Justin
Glinda.
Timberlake. Go.
no.
Maybe. If they gotta have her in it, that has to be the part.
I don't
Yeah,
see
no.
any reason why the original two can't do it. It's not like
Because they're old as hell.
They're old.
right, but like, why can't they be old?
Well, this
I
was
guess
the point I
they're,
was making, because it's a Mark Platt production. It probably will be the original two, and they'll just call them high schoolers.
I guess, yeah, they're in like Wizard High School, right?
That
That's
has
where they
been
go.
my favorite discourse so far, though, is people finding out what Dear Evan Hansen's about that thought it was a coming out musical. That has been, since the trailer dropped for the movie, people have been like, hold on, what is this thing about? I thought he was gay.
They say it in the song that they're not gay.
Yeah, but if all you know about Dear Evan Hansen is like it's a nerdy kid who breaks his glass, or breaks his arm and has one man sign his cast and sings "Waving Through a Window," I get it. I get it if you think Evan's gay.
That's fair.
If you listen
Well,
to "You'll
and-
Be Found," I get it.
And Connor is gay, right? Like that's.
In the book, yeah.
Oh, that's not canon. Or
It's
is
not.
that canon?
It's not. I don't know how that works. It's never said in the show, but in the book he is gay.
Oh,
Like
I thought it was like...
that whole like because you read the book, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen the show. I've only read the book.
So that whole thing with like his like secret boyfriend or whatever that's in the book, nowhere anywhere in the show, like at all.
Huh.
So I don't know what they're going to do in the movie. I know that they said that the movie has a different ending, which is interesting.
Based on the trailer, it looks like Evan kills himself.
Oh no.
Like, that is a dark movie trailer.
I don't think that's how they're going to end it.
I don't think it will either, but like a couple of people who don't know about it have said that is like, first of all, I thought he was gay. Second of all, does he also kill himself?
Well,
that's just the vibe some people get from it.
I'm not going to start spoiling Dear Evan Hansen. It's fine.
Read the book.
Yeah.
I just don't care that much. Like, I'll probably see the movie when it comes out. We'll cover it on the show, I'm sure. But
I'll see the movie when it comes out.
Anyway. Definitely
It's definitely like the movie musical this year that I'm like the least excited about, which I didn't think was going to be the case. Because,
Really?
I mean, West Side Story is coming out in...
You excited about West Side Story?
oh, it's going to
I am.
slap. Steven Spielberg, West Side Story, absolutely going to slap. No chance it doesn't.
The trailer for Tick Tick Boom came out, and cannot be more excited
Yeah.
about anything now that In the Heights has come out.
That's a
I don't know
Lin-Manuel
what
direction,
Tick
correct?
Tick Boom
Yes.
is.
It's Jonathan Larson who wrote Rent.
It is a
So-
fun
and-
one.
Yeah, so Andrew Garfield is playing Jonathan Larson, and and Lynn directed it.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be good then.
I hope so.
Yeah, out of those four, Dear Evan Hansen's probably going to be the worst.
Yeah,
It's got to be.
which makes me sad, but yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's not on the, like, from the beginning, it's just not on the level,
Nope.
right? Like, you're talking about Bernstein here. Just, I mean, and Jonathan Larson. Like,
Yeah.
Rand is one of the biggest of all time. No, those are both, I'm sure, going to slap. And obviously,
I'm
The Heights was
just
great.
so excited for all the musical theater content.
This was the best movie musical that's been made in a long time.
I agree.
I was saying this to Eni before we started, but this to me is like this shares more in common with like the classic movie musicals like Singing in the Rain than it ever could with something like Les Mis, right? Like this is how it was supposed to be done for me. I know a lot of people are upset for XYZ reasons, but like Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein are proud of this one from wherever they are now. Like this was
I
a
agree.
good one.
I thought this is fantastic. As far as movie musicals go, I was like, yeah, this is good. I actually like not the only complaint because I've had a few complaints, but I really liked just the stage recording of Hamilton. That was fantastic. So I think
That's not really a movie musical.
It's not. No, but it's a musical that I watched at home.
Sure, yeah.
On a TV. So like I even wouldn't be upset if we took the stage down a stage smaller than what we had in the Heights. Just to get a little bit closer to the stage itself. Because I think one of the things I learned watching this was like, yeah, this is by far one of the best adaptations to the screen I've ever seen. But I also think that like we are naive to think that because something makes a good stage musical, it would make a good movie.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
I get that. I don't think that every musical needs to be a movie.
No.
I don't think Hamilton needs to be a movie.
You know,
I
lose that
don't.
one.
I really don't. I think we got.
Annie, I'm curious. We are trending towards Hamilton as Cancelton as a society, and I want to know.
I don't think we are. That's an echo chamber.
100% are.
That's an echo chamber.
You think?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
that is
honestly couldn't tell you what's going on because I kind of have just been ignoring everything. So I don't even know why people are canceling Hamilton right now.
I just want to like Hamilton, and that be the
I
end
still
of
I will tell
like
you,
Hamilton.
Disney is bigger than TikTok.
it.
This is
Disney is
accurate.
bigger than TikTok.
And there's a small subset of TikTok that is upset about Hamilton and like that it is aged poorly.
I think that's the point of like part of Hamilton is that it's supposed to exist in 2016 and bring the world to a place where it is dated. Like this part of like
Yeah.
the progress
that.
of Hamilton. Like you know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be progressive in 2016, and the whole point of like progressive culture is that as we progress, things that were once progressive are now commonplace.
Yes.
Or even dated.
And they did this with the In the Heights movie where they took the opportunity to say different things and tackle different issues than they did in the
Absolutely.
stage show. And I think if and when they do, because I do think they will do a Hamilton movie, I think it's inevitable at this point. But they will update it to tackle different issues. Like, things will be changed. There will be changes made. That is the story that happens every time you make a movie from source material, right? It's your job to update and fix the changes in the source material. They did the same thing like with Looking for Alaska, right? Where everybody was like, man, they fixed a lot of things about this when they made the Hulu show, and like, as they should.
Yeah.
But you can't go rewrite the book or rewrite the musical. Now, the question comes, do you keep mounting the musical the same way? That's where it gets complicated. I can see that's the interesting thing with theater, and then we get into with live music as well, is like, you got to kind of choose to go out there and sing the song every night, right? If there's something wrong with the song, change the song or take the song out. And that's why bands get in a lot of trouble, is because they'll have a song that they're like, hey guys, you can't say that anymore, but they keep saying it every night.
Yeah.
And that's the I think where theater's going to end up is like, when do we make changes, right? Do you have to stick to the same thing every time?
Here's what I get from what you're saying. They should just pull any problematic songs from Hamilton, but then have Olivia Rodrigo go in and write her own versions.
Good God.
That are less problematic, right? Because this is what she did, right? Like, Misery Business, you can't do that anymore, but you can do Good for You. So, like, if we just put Olivia Rodrigo in Hamilton, like, anytime there's something where you're like, all of a sudden she's on stage singing, it's like, oh.
Yeah, you take Hurricane out, put Driver's License in.
Right, that's the girl from High School Musical, the musical series. Oh my gosh, yay!
You said
That's what I'm
forever,
hearing
now
from.
I drive alone down your street. The Reynolds pamphlet. Have you read this?
Oh
Can't
my
wait.
God.
No, Hamilton movie is actually going to be a thing. I think it's inevitable.
I know.
I think
like,
Olivia Rodrigo is going to play Eliza.
There it is.
I had Angelica and Peggy. Eliza.
I think at some point, I think Hamilton movie is going to be fine. Like, I don't see a lot of issues with it. I do think they will pick separate characters to play, or separate people to play the characters.
Oh yeah,
Which
it
a lot of
won't
people will be upset about. But like, there are definitely movies that get, or musicals that get made into movies that don't need to. Like, I definitely think Wicked is one of those. I have more problem with them making a Wicked musical than I do with them making a Dear Evan Hansen musical, even though I like Wicked better, right? Like, Dear Evan Hansen can be a musical. Like, I'm pretty sure you could do Dear Evan Hansen in a black box just fine. And if you could do it in a black box, you can make a movie out of it.
Yeah.
Not to say you can't do any musical in a black box, but
Dear Evan Hansen, like, to me, Dear Evan Hansen, listening to the this is a point I wanted to make earlier, so I'm going to bring this back real quick. I'm okay with them changing things. I liked Dear Evan Hansen before I saw it. I haven't seen it, but I like it from the cast album. So I think that, like, the cast album is a different medium than the stage performance is a different medium than the film. So if there's changes between those three, I think that's fine, because I do think you get something different from the cast album than you do the book, and I'm sure you get something different from the stage than you do those two.
yeah,
things.
what you get from stage that you're missing from the cast album is the entire story.
The entire story. Same with a huge offender on this one is Book of Mormon. I read the Book of Mormon book.
wouldn't say
nothing
huge.
like the stage.
Huge. Why are we laughing?
I said that the book was nothing like the show.
I didn't hear you.
No, I would say with Book of Mormon,
There are
when
definitely
you
differences.
described
You
the
missed some
show
things.
to me. Yeah, when you described the show to me, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't catch that at all.
It just clears up some songs in Act 2. That's really it.
Yeah. But that one actually has, like, good songs throughout Act 2. Dear Evan Hansen does not. It's like a Disney movie where
It's all
got, like,
reprises.
it's all Act 1 and then reprises. And, like, I love Frozen, don't get me wrong, but, like, you should just added songs the whole time.
And they did that in the Broadway musical. Everybody hated it. So
I thought it was fine. Is it my favorite thing? No. But the Frozen musical is fine. It's definitely not Lion King.
no. I remember
Lion
this.
King.
This is so wild. And I don't remember who I was talking to about this because I don't think it was either you. It was while Tyler was gone, and I was talking to somebody about not knowing that "He Lives in You" is not in the movie.
You were talking to Mary Clay during
Yes.
your Catch Me If You Can episode
Yes,
because when I
on
was
your
editing,
show,
I
yes.
was like, "What?" Yes, "He Lives in You" is from Lion King 2.
Is it?
Yeah,
Because it's in the stage
it's
show
in the
though. Yeah.
it's in the stage show. Yeah,
Because when they did the remake, and I was watching it, and I was like, they didn't do "He Lives in You." That's so weird. And then I looked it up, and I was like, it's not in the movie. Turns out.
so they actually added that song. I think it's during the credits. But they sing it, I think, in Swahili.
Oh, cool.
In the quote unquote live action, the remake of Lion King.
The quote unquote live action.
Yeah.
Listen, we need to be nice to the Lion King live action remake.
Why?
Like, Bo Burnham came out and he was like, the Lion King live action remake, you get that funny feeling. Like, guys, come on. It's not bad. It's still Lion King. Still good. Be prepared. I think arguably, maybe not improved, but just as good, right? That Beyonce song, truly criminal, shouldn't be there.
Thank you.
No reason for that.
None
Absolutely
whatsoever.
none. Other than that they wanted Beyonce to play the part, and she was like, "I want to sing a song."
I wanna
Just
sing
give her a
with
song.
Lion King.
Like this is what I think is the cop out though. Like, and this is what they didn't freaking do with Aladdin, which I loved, is that they have to add the song for the movie, right? Because they want to be able to be like award nominated and stuff. Then do it. Add a song, right? Add a song in the thing that's actually
Give
part of it.
Nala a narrative.
Give Nala a song.
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
they should have added Shadowland from the show.
I don't think they could do that though. I still think it has to be original.
I get that,
Yeah.
but the Shadowland song adds so much to Nala's
sure,
character.
yeah. Well, like I think
so much to Nala's
Speechless
character.
was such a fantastic addition.
The song added for Aladdin, Speechless,
Just said that.
that song slaps.
It's a good song.
The point, literally, I just made that point the second before you did.
Well, now we have both made that point, and I stand by that decision.
Yeah.
I'm kind of over the live action remakes. Although I really did like Cruella, but Cruella wasn't a musical, so I don't know.
It also wasn't really a remake.
Oh yeah, it's more of an origin story.
Yeah.
You're right.
Guys,
I'm
it's a
just- I'm
female
over
version
it.
of Joker, guys.
I haven't
It
seen Joker.
slaps, bro. It's so good. Not
Cruella?
Joker. I haven't seen that. That seems
haven't
like
seen
it
that either.
glorifies white terrorists. But Cruella, that was rad.
That
That
great.
was very good. Emily's watched it like 5 times.
Yeah, we've watched it a few times already too. It's very good. Very, very good.
I think also, so this is just like a little like check in with Tyler. Part of the reason I had a hard time with this movie is like just where my brain space is at. I'm in a position in my life where like I really need familiarity.
That's fair.
Like I need to watch something I've seen before. I need to read books about characters that I recognize. And going into In the Heights, knowing not even the culture we're talking about,
Yeah.
was like, this is so challenging for me to get into right now. It is not what I need. But I did, like I honestly, when we get to the big board, which I think we're getting close to, I have no idea how long we've been sitting here. I actually do want to like omit my score and give my score spot to Eni, because I think it's a fantastic movie. It's just not what I needed right now, and I don't think that my lens matters.
I appreciate that, and it's funny because like I'm kind of in that same headspace, and it's maybe why I liked it so much is because I love these characters and I know this story, and this seems familiar to me. So it's kind of like the opposite of what you're feeling right now.
Well, yeah, like I've been reading Master and Apprentice, which is a Star Wars novel about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and it's like, this is good. It is a new story to me, but it is characters that I recognize. I can work with this. And then, but like even that sometimes will get like overwhelming, and I'll be like, I just need to read something.
You should try fan
I've read
fiction.
before. I'm not going to do that. I will absolutely not go.
I mean, you're reading Star Wars novels. What's the difference?
Star Wars novels are canon. I'm not going to read fan fiction. Also, Claudia Gray is a real deal excellent author.
So is R.A. Salvatore.
Which one did he write?
Ari Salvatore did Attack of the Clones.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I saw that conversation happening, and I was working, and I couldn't like chime in. But that's my brother's favorite author.
So a lot of
I'm sure
people's
he's
favorite author.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's fantastic. I would like to read some other stuff he did. I did finish the book, but I'm also reading Revenge of the Sith right now, and Terry
I'm
Brooks, who
reading
did Phantom Menace,
nothing.
and Matthew Stone.
Yeah. So from what I
I
could
don't know.
tell,
I really like the authors on 1 and 3 much better than I liked how Salvatore did Attack of the Clones.
what I could tell about Ari Salvatore is that basically Gary Gygax, who invented D&D, was like, "Hey, I need a bunch of books. Can you write me a bunch of books?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he wrote a bunch of books.
The conversation was, I need you to read The Lord of the Rings, and we got to make it look like we hated that.
Yeah.
But also very derivative
Steal
from
it.
that.
I mean, you know what they say: good artists copy, great artists steal. I do want to talk about art for a second. They didn't do the graffiti portrait, which sucks.
I agree. When the big reveal of the I guess the landscape of the beach or whatever, and then the tiny little Paciencia y Fe in the corner,
Like above the
definitely-
fridge.
Yeah, definitely was like like it was a deflating balloon for me, because like that's a moment in the musical where I was excited for like the reveal of because Tyler in the show, Graffiti Pete actually paints like the grates that like come down like the garage
fire door. Yeah.
that comes over.
Yeah,
Like
he does that in the movie.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, but at the end he actually does like a whole portrait
Just-
of Abuela Claudia.
Yeah. Google In the Heights graffiti real quick.
Yeah. So
I will
in
say
the
this,
beginning,
a critique on the story as a whole, Graffiti Pete was not enough of a character.
well, he's not supposed to be.
Right. That is my critique of the source material.
But yeah, so at the end, that's like the whole big reveal, and that's what actually like gives Usnavi like like makes him realize is that he wants to stay. So
And it feels like to me they legitimately just like filmed this movie in order and then got to doing that and they were like, this bodega doesn't have one of those doors. Shoot.
yeah, it did.
Did it?
Because
It did. They
he's
do it in the
painting-
beginning.
Oh, okay.
He's tagging it in the beginning.
Then there's no reason. There's no reason.
Yeah, there's no reason. There's no.
I get it
reason.
because Sonny has to
I
like
mean,
fix the door
well-
or whatever, but
Well, the reason is because you have to tie him being at the beach, right?
right.
Like that's the reason. And it's the green little crab that's super out of place when he's on the beach is the crab that Sonny painted.
Oh, look at you connecting dots.
That's when I realized, like, the second you hear Sonny say, like, I painted the crab in the corner, I was like, oh, they're in the bodega. That's when I connected those dots.
Interesting. I did not catch that.
Yeah.
That's so good. I'm so proud
Well,
of
the
you.
thing is that the crab like stood out to me so much because they like zoomed in on it, and it was very like not a normal color of a crab.
I don't
and
know
it
what
was just out
crabs
of
look
place.
like in the Dominican Republic.
I'm
It
with
was
Tyler.
neon green.
I'm with Tyler though. Give
Okay.
Graffiti Pete a song 2K21 challenge.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
Like I
Graffiti Pete's
understand
great.
he's not a big character, but like why? I think that's what one of the hard parts of coming into critique of these types of films, though, is that like we have to accept it as an adaptation of the source material, and I don't feel like I can go into it and be like, "This is my problem with the source material."
Yeah.
I don't have much problem, but I would like Graffiti Pete to be more of a character.
I love graffiti. It's such a
He
cool
actually,
thing.
they actually added a little bit more of him in the movie. Like the scene with Vanessa, that Vanessa's like takes his like rags or whatever to make her whatever outfit she was making. Like that doesn't happen. And
I like
yeah.
that part a lot.
And like him,
I did think this is a weird line for me. Whenever Vanessa, like at the very end of the movie, started saying things like, "Oh, my fingers need to move," I was like, "What is?" I know you're talking about sewing, but like, why? It's a weird way to say that.
Here's my thing. Vanessa, this is the one thing because I have issues with the whole blackout sequence, then the club sequence, just because like they changed the story so much but left all that stuff.
yeah,
Where in the show they're at the club and Benny and Nina are mad at each other and they're having this huge fight. and that just doesn't happen for various reasons. And so then we end up with this weird scene of like Usnavi and Vanessa mad at each other.
Yeah, which like,
And then Vanessa goes home and like, but she sees the fireworks and goes home and starts making something out of she's like sewing and tying up all these knots and stuff based on the inspiration she saw from the fireworks, and nothing ever comes of that.
nope.
At all. Like I'm sitting there going like, oh, this is Vanessa's big idea, right?
Yeah.
And nothing comes of that ever.
No.
At the end, she's like, I don't have any ideas. And I'm like, what happened to your firework thing?
Well, the whole thing was is that she moved out of the barrio and wasn't creative anymore.
Yeah.
And like, and she, like realized
But
that all
we
of
never
her
got to see
inspiration-
we never got to see the barrio
Yeah.
streamer outfit.
That.
No, yeah, but we saw like the graffiti Pete outfits.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
the spray painted outfits or whatever.
That's what I'm saying, it's just they make this
like, that's
big
the
point.
whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Is that like she only got inspiration from the barrio, like from Washington Heights.
Yeah.
So she came back.
Right.
But yeah, I would have wanted to see that outfit too.
So let's get into.
I will say this vis-a-vis graffiti.
Right.
TikTok always be teaching me things that I didn't need to know. Like, I've learned more from my year on TikTok than I think I did in college and high school combined. And what TikTok did teach me the other day is that one of my favorite train graffiti artists recently died.
Oh no.
Yeah. He's a guy whose stuff I'd seen literally everywhere. And one of the, like, I follow train graffiti accounts, like, posted that and was like, rest in peace, this guy. And I was like, dang, that's not something I ever thought would come into my life as a sad moment. Like, this is information I never knew I'd be able to take control of.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a side of TikTok. TikTok is so crazy.
Oh, yeah. Train talk is all about that kind of thing, right? Because train people love train graffiti.
Okay.
It's great. I love
Ethan,
train graffiti.
I did want to tell you, I have a friend who was on the board for the Transportation Museum here in town. If you're looking to join that life,
What do you mean?
I don't know. You want to be on the board?
I would love to do anything with the Transportation Museum. I emailed them a couple days ago actually and said, "Let me run a TikTok account for you. I'll do it for free. I don't care."
Well, there
and
you
I
go.
did not get an email back, but just
I'm
because like
sure
I follow,
whoever runs that email.
yeah, I follow
is-
some other train museums on TikTok and their content's fantastic, and I'm like, I could do this. The Virginia Transportation Museum is a fantastic museum with very bad PR,
Yeah.
just the worst, like all museums in Roanoke.
All right. It is scores time. As a reminder, I have lent my score to Eni, which does bring the Rotten Tomatoes audience score back into the game, which puts Eni at 100, Ethan at 100, Rotten Tomatoes critics at 96, Metacritic at an 84, and the Rotten Tomatoes audience at a 95. Ethan, do you have a listener score for
That'd be at 92
92?
from Bacon and Eggs listeners.
From Bacon and Eggs listeners, if you want to vote on the score, basically what we do is we ask for scores from our listeners on Discord as well as our free Facebook group, and then we average all of them. We do it manually. It takes Ethan like a minute, I would say, which, it's one of those things. Anyway, that's how you can do that. Which gives the Bacon and Eggs score for In the Heights. 96.35.
Dang.
Yes.
That's high.
That is number 2.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Look at that. Right behind It's a Wonderful Life.
Yep.
Fine.
It's the same movie, really.
Right?
Right?
I mean, there's even a quote from It's a Wonderful Life in the Heights.
Is there really?
Yeah, at the end. He says, "Merry Christmas to the old building and loan."
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, because when that happened, Kate like whacked me in the arm and was like, "Did you hear that?" Yeah, go see this movie in a theater if you feel comfortable. It was a truly incredible experience.
And watch it if you have HBO Max.
Yeah, it's free on HBO Max if you pay for HBO Max. You don't have to pay another $30 on top of the subscription fee you already pay every month.
Correct.
Yeah, because that's how it works for literally everything else except the occasional Disney movie.
The occasional Disney movie. Yes, go watch this. It's a very important movie. And I highly recommend that everybody watch it.
Highly recommend. Could not recommend enough. I loved this movie so much. And I know it means a lot to Eni and a lot to a
It
lot of
does.
people. And it's, I think it's a good step forward for movie musicals as a whole. I hope that we continue down this trend. I too am excited to see Tick Tick Boom and West Side Story. I am lukewarm about seeing Darren Hanson.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it, right? Like musical theater podcast, I have to watch it.
Yeah, I mean,
and
you have to watch it.
I would probably watch it regardless, but I don't know. I am all for movie musicals if it means that it will get more people to be fans of musicals.
And like, I know that the discourse is always like, let's do new things that haven't already been adapted and do new shows and whatever. I will never get tired of West Side Story though. Like, you cannot make me get tired of West Side Story. It won't happen.
Fair. That's fair. I'm excited to see it. The trailer looks very good. And what's her face? Rita Moreno singing in the trailer just gave me chills. I can't wait.
Cool. Anybody got any final thoughts on IF?
IF.
The worst acronym ever.
I don't, as a matter of fact.
He doesn't.
Go watch it. It's so good. The
thoughts?
music's great, and it's a really important story. So go see it. Those are my thoughts.
Well, this entire episode of Bacon and Eggs has been a trailer for Sincerely Us, a musical theater podcast, which you can find anywhere podcasts are sold or given away for free every Wednesday. That's a fantastic show that I've been on way too many times, and I love both of the hosts. Becca, we miss you. We're sad you couldn't be here tonight. But Eni, thank you so much for lending us your time and your talent.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Where can we find you on the internet?
So you can follow Sincerely Us on Twitter and Instagram at Sincerely Us Pod, or you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at _Eni Meeny. It's INYMEENY. Those are all of the places I'm at.
Excellent.
Also in the WB&E Discord.
Well, on behalf of WB&E, this has been another episode of Bacon and Eggs, our graphics survivation on Brandon. Graphite.vmb on Instagram, or music by Andrew Scott Bell, andrewscottbellmusic.com. As always, we are Bacon and Eggs. Bacon and Eggs is Tyler Carlin and Ethan Edgehill. We are two human beings that make a podcast. You can find us on Patreon and support the show. Keep the lights on here at patreon.com/baconandeggs. Until next week, I've been Ethan Edgehill. He's been Tyler Carlin. She's been Ines Fuenmayor. Arrivederci. Adios.
Anthony Ramos.